All right, I want to go back out to the guest line right now. And now joining us is one of the most genuine, thoughtful, intelligent men in all of mixed martial arts. The head coach at Extreme Couture, Eric Nicksick, is with us. What's up, E? Good morning. How we doing?
What's up, fellas? How are you guys?
What's up, dog? We're doing well, man. So, Chael Sonnen recently referred to me as the hardest working man in MMA, and perhaps he meant like non-fighter and non-coach. Seemingly no one's schedule is as busy as yours. I know forcibly you've had to scale back a little bit when it comes to the overall attention you are giving certain athletes. But how are you navigating that right now with Francis Ngannou and all of your high and low profile MMA fighters as well?
Honestly, just like trusting the people around you, I think is very important. I think for a number of years, I saw how much it ran Robert in the dirt, and trying to, I guess, manage and micromanage every little turn, and where you have accomplished coaches around you that you can trust and you can lean on. And I think, that was part of my growth with Robert, was he began to trust me and lean on me more and allow me to have some of those duties. So I think it's important, like Danny Davis has those duties, like, hey, hold pads for Sean, or, Nate doing that for Chris. And you can still be hands-on and do all those things, but also just trusting the people around you, because each fighter deserves that 100% of attention, whether it's 100% from you or it's broken up in thirds. And I think that's what's important, and why it's important for us to win like Gym of the Year, because all those guys in the room are doing so much damn good work. And that's what I love most about our team.
All right. Well, before I let Kenny get in here on the fight, and you were prepared for this question, but in terms of just the media load and all the people wanting to talk to you, right? It's great to be thoughtful and have all of this MMA knowledge, but it does come with a price, because everybody wants a piece of you and you have become accessible. Like in 2017, I basically stopped honoring every single media request that came in, because there was a time in my career where I felt like I should be doing all of these things to get myself out there. But part of the reason I hesitate to reach out to a guy like you on Monday is because I know everybody else is fucking reaching out to you. So I don't know if your wife, Annie, is just a saint, but like, I'd imagine at one point she's like, hey, dude, can you not go on like MMAsuckerforlife.com again today? Like, how are you navigating the myriad media requests that continue to come in? And have you said no increasingly as your profile has expanded?
It's two sides to it, man. And like, I'm always just been that type of guy where I'm going to say yes to Ariel, or if it's the upstart podcast guy. And, because I have a big heart, man. I really do. And I feel like, for my mentality, that somebody opened the door for me once, and I just try to allow me to open a door for them. If that means if I do one interview for them, maybe they get Kenny, maybe they get one of you guys, So I have that mentality. And then, Rogan kind of got on me about, he's like, dude, you don't have to do every podcast ever. He said, because remember, people are trying to build a name off of you as well. So right. I try to like, I guess, navigate both. But man, like when the kid in college in his dorm room has his sheet hung up over in the back and he's trying to do an interview, I'll say yes. I'll just have to put a time limit on it and say, hey, you got 15 minutes, bro.
Yeah, that's what I've actually done. Time limits. I never do anything longer than 25 minutes right now, and I think that's a good way to navigate it. But no doubt you got a big heart. Kempfla, what do you have for Eric Nicksick?
Oh, that's amazing. Eric, have you gone back? I assume you have gone back and watched the fight, and what your thoughts were on it, and how you saw it scoring wise.
Honestly, I haven't watched it back yet, Kenny.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've been busy. Like the moment I landed, and then I've also have like that, almost like that, I would say PTSD, but I just have like this anxiousness about like what crumbs we might have left behind, and that's what kills me the most, man, is like those close fights. I talked to John the day after, and those close fights hurt me the most, because that means we left some crumbs behind. We didn't win the optic battle. We didn't do little things that we could have done, I think, to sway the judges. And that falls on me as a coach, man. And that's a tough pill to swallow at times, because it's a title, man. It's a world title, and I know how hard those are to come by.
What you call, right after round 3, you said to Sean, you didn't like that round. I didn't like that round, Sean. I didn't like that round. And you could argue that might have been the round that was the deciding factor. Is that the way you saw it there?
There was an edge to him that I usually see that I didn't feel in my fighter. Like he was really like wanted to push a pace and kill this guy, you know, and I didn't have that edge that I felt. I initially thought we won rounds 1 and 2. 2 being close. I didn't know how they were going to score the takedowns, but I got to admit, like, what kind of messed me up was I looked down at the apron and they show the live odds, like the graphic so I looked down and I saw, you know, we were minus 200 after the first round, minus 325 after the second round. I might be wrong, but I remember seeing the odds being in our favor.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so if there's people in the world that know what they saw, it's people with money on it. You would think. So I'm like, okay, it reiterated my thoughts that we won round 1 and 2. Again, this is MMA. It could change at every moment depending on who's in the seat. But I felt pretty good about 1 and 2. And then, you know, when John wrote me, I haven't watched it back. I remember saying that in round 3. But we started, to me, where after round 1, I thought we fought the round perfectly. Round 2, Kenny, we got away from the one thing that I wanted the most in the fight was our teep. We got away from it.
Right.
You know, and I jumped on him after round 2 because remember, the teep works differently for every opponent. It served a different purpose for Izzy, but for this fight, it was very important for us to, and I kept telling him, flatten the tires. That was knocking the wind out of the body, man. Yeah. Flatten the tires. That was one. Number 2, it kept distance management. It didn't allow him to come running forward with those weird combinations. You stick him right to his belly or stick him right to his chest, and it stops that. We got away from it there. And also, you know, it gives another scoring criteria for the judges to see, right? And if it's just a jab, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. But now you start adding in the kicks. Well, now the optics look a little bit different. You have a 2-seam fastball, now you got a cutter, right? Both fastballs, but they're both working well. And that was my thing after round 2. It was like, man, we got to get back to that teep and start chopping the legs a little bit more and flatten the tires. You know, so just little things like that. Those things are going to bug me the most.
Eric Nicksick with us here on the Anik Florian podcast. Now, promotionally, the stage was already set for Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. Dana White, after the fight, suggested that even though he thinks a rematch between Strickland and du Plessis has legs, that it won't be of the immediate variety. But bro, this fan base is so fucking wound up right now that I do believe, and I don't know about Izzy's relative health, right? Danny Rube just suggested that maybe Izzy was healthy, but bro, if they announce this rematch as the headliner for UFC 300, I think I speak for the fan base. We're going to be thrilled. Like, I need to see this again. I'm not saying right away, but I'd imagine you're pretty excited at the possibility of being able to sort of right this wrong, so to speak, at some point.
Yeah, I definitely would. I would love that opportunity to compete again. Man, like, you know, hats off to Dricus and his team. They fought brilliantly. Classy individual. Like I'm glad they're getting their shine. I truly am. Like if we were going to lose, I'm glad we lost to Dricus and his team, and I'm glad they're getting their shine and along with their country. But as a competitor, yes, absolutely, man. I would love that opportunity to be able to go and compete against him again and make some adjustments and go out and try to get that belt back.
I wanted to ask you about Chris Curtis against Marc-Andre Barriault. And sometimes it's hard for us as commentators when the fans start booing, especially when they've been spoiled to an amazing night. And you see this as a mixed martial arts fight and a striking contest that is maybe not the fight of the year, but certainly aesthetically pleasing. What were your thoughts on Curtis's win? Certainly I thought he did enough to win the fight, but his win, the booing, and then maybe after the fact, some of his criticism of the commentators suggesting that he was just sparring in there.
So the fight in itself, and I said this to him all during camp, if they're booing, we are winning.
Right.
If they're booing, we are winning. That's you're going to get that. The countrymen, they're going to get behind them. We want, and I said that going into round 3. I go, take in the boos, bro. Those are our cheers. Like that's what we want. We're winning the fight. You know, I don't see how anyone just scored it a split decision. You know, I thought I thought 29-28 at best or at worst for Chris. So, but man, like, I don't know all the things that were said. I didn't listen to the commentary, nor does it matter. Like I said to Chris, when Chris, I don't know, I saw Chris went scorched earth on poor Dom. Right. My bro, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I even said to Chris, I said, what if Dom said it looked like a sparring match because you made it look easy? Right? There's perspective to be had, you know? And I actually was contemplating on texting you last night and sending you a text to give to Dom saying, hey, bro, listen, I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't want there to be like a beef between even teams or our athletes, because you guys have a job to do. And I respect that you guys have a job to do. You're calling it like you see it, right? So if one of you guys says something about our performance, I don't take it as criticism. I take it as, okay, I trust Kenny's eye. If he sees something that we're doing, dude, take a step back from the sniper scope and look at the entire environment. Maybe there's something we can do better. That's all, man. Like that, I don't like to get into none of that bullshit.
Well, and I would say to Chris and any other athlete that takes exception to the commentary, and I'm not an analyst, I'm a play-by-play guy. It's a very important distinction, but none of our analysts bring any malice nor disrespect to the table. Like whatever Dom or DC said about the sparring nature of portions of that fight, it's not really anything that is said with disrespect, but I think sometimes it is ingested as such. So how soon do you head to Saudi Arabia? You go like a couple weeks out, if you don't know, Francis Ngannou and Anthony Joshua, not all that far from right now.
Yeah, so I'll have Roman Dolidze main event the 3rd. Yep. I'll have Ige Brad February 10th. I'll go Mexico City for Zellhuber. Mexico City straight to Saudi, and I'll be in Saudi for the rest of the time until Francis fights. And you know, had it not been for Zellhuber, I would go right after Ige and Brad. But because Dewey and I both share Zellhuber, and Dewey's already in Saudi right now at Francis. I talked to Dewey for about 30 minutes last night. It's Dewey's show. So if I said to Francis, I go, bro, if you tell me you need me there, I'll have to tell Zellhuber I'm sorry. And he goes, no, stay with Zellhuber. I feel bad that, you know, I got you and Dewey. So do your job, come straight out there when it's done. So it's all working out perfectly for all us. The team's all where it needs to be. All of our sparring partners that we had are basically Eastern European guys. So they're thankful that we were doing it out in Saudi. All the boys are on the ground right now. Francis sparred 9 rounds yesterday, which was great because we would do like four pads. This dude, he's already right back in. So Dewey's excited. He says he's looking amazing. And I can't wait to get out there and see our boy. You know, I haven't seen him since the fight.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I saw him once. He came home for like a minute, said hi, came and beat up half the team and left.
All right, before I let you go, so I try to predict what I think a betting line will be before I actually look at it. And when I was thinking about Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, I understand stylistically it's a different fight than Tyson Fury, but just given the competitive nature of that Tyson Fury fight and how there for the taking it was in the latter rounds, I thought Francis would be like plus 220, maybe as high as plus 270. Bro, like I guess I'm asking this somewhat rhetorically, but Francis Ngannou right now is plus 470. I kind of want to violate my contract and bet on him. Like, dude, why am I looking at such a big number?
Yeah, and stylistically, you know, I mean, Kenny, what do you think, bro? I feel like AJ's going to be there. It's going to be a fight where we don't have to track this guy down the same way we had to with Tyson, where Tyson's elusiveness and the cage cutoffs and all those things were a lot of our game plan, whereas this guy's going to be more plotty and work behind his jab and be in front of us. So, you know, I feel like we're going to be able to hit this guy a little bit more. So, and I mean, dude, when you get hit by Francis, we all know, man, it's life-changing.
Yeah, not in a good way. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I see it. I think this is a way more dangerous fight for someone who has a style like Anthony Joshua, just because, like you said, he's going to try to be there for Francis. So that means Francis gets to land shots. If Francis is landing shots, watch out.
It's a wrap.
Yeah. All right. Well, he was the consensus mixed martial arts coach of the year in 2023. Eric Nicksick on Instagram, Eric_XCMMA. Super gracious of you to give us a quarter of an hour, my man. Thank you so much for the time. We wish you all the best. I know I'll see you over the next few weeks, but bro, you're the fucking man. You know, nobody has a bad word to say about you because you're just the real article, and continued success. You know, you're the consummate example, I think, of good things happening to good people, but you've made it all happen yourself. So continue to enjoy the fruits. Best to the family, and we'll see you in a few weeks, brother.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, man.
All right, there he is, Extreme Couture's Anik Nicksick with us here on the Anik and Florian podcast. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I really like Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. I hope they fight again, but I just think we're going to have to wait a little bit.